Your groupings suck. And if they didn't, you wouldn't be watching this video. Now, I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm actually here to give you the tools that will actually work. Because if your groups still look like somebody sneezed mid-trigger pull and you've been blaming your rifle, ammo, wind, your rest, your dog, your arthritis, maybe even the phase of the moon, you need this video. I'm Alan from Benchrest Marksman, and I've built this list for shooters who want real accuracy without hype or any gimmicks. Now download my free 22LR accuracy checklist and target in the description because it really does help. So if you're serious about getting your groups under control, you need to stop guessing and start figuring it out. Because the truth is, most shooters aren't held back by the gear. They're held back by habits. And there are seven specific things that I think that quietly kill your precision, even if you think that you're doing everything right. So let's break down the 7 killers of precision, starting with the one that ruins everything. Everything before you even pull the trigger. No repeatable process. So you change your shoulder pressure, your seating position, you're constantly jiggling, dancing, jumping at the table, and your trigger hand is tighter, one shot, looser the next, and whatever. All of that changes your point of impact. So to fix that, make sure you build a pre-shot routine, like a golfer. Have you guys seen golfers on the TV? You know, they stand behind the ball, they practice their swing, they think about it, they get themselves psyched up, and then they step up to the ball for their shot. That's exactly what you need to do when you're at the bench. Next thing I need you to do is write down your stance or seating position. If you're doing cheek welds, hand position, breathing rhythm, every little bit of detail that you can think of, write it down on a bit of paper. Next one is use your phone to film your position and spot your inconsistencies. You'll be amazed once you film yourself how much you actually dance and jiggle and dance around behind the bench before you actually pull the trigger. So again, the free checklist, bring it with you. Check it out before every time that you pull that trigger. That way you remember every single step of the process. So the next one is garbage ammunition. Precision isn't about shooting more, like multiple hundreds and thousands of bullets. It's about shooting the same over and over again. Bulk plinking, yeah, it's really fun, but don't expect to be having miracles at 50 meters. If you want groups down of the 0.162 of an inch or even smaller, you need to make sure you have everything dialed in. To fix this, make sure you test 3 to 4 brands across multiple days. That way you can find the exact ammunition that your rifle likes. That way you can see how it performs under different environmental conditions. Group size is the key, but also check for consistent ejection patterns and cycling as well, which is really, really important. So once you find a good batch, buy as much as you can. Look, I understand finding good ammunition is like finding a unicorn in the forest. It is extremely difficult, but as soon as you find something that your rifle likes, I really strongly urge you to buy as much as you can because you don't know when the next unicorn will come along. Number 3 is your setup is fighting you. So if you're chasing your zero every week, chances that your gear is loose or even misaligned. Most shooters skip the setup adjustments and really pay for it during competitions and their results on paper. So to fix this, make sure your torque on your scope mounts and your action screws are to manufacturer's specs. Don't guess. Don't just tighten it up and she'll do. And for the adventurous guys out there, guys and girls, you know, you can make slight adjustments on your torque settings to find out what your rifle really does like, because some rifles do like the front action screws to be just a little bit tighter than the rear one. So you can play around and see what your rifle really likes. Next one is level your scope and do it properly. Use a bubble level or plumb line. And if your crosshairs are tilted, your adjustments will be all over the shop. So, you know, you're looking at your rifle, it looks level, you look through the scope and suddenly your crosshairs are tilted a little bit. Well, you know, you're automatically going to cant your rifle over to make your crosshairs look level. What's going to happen is that your bullets are going to either go left, right. You're not going to have precision every single shot. Next one is make sure you have rear bag and front rest set up correctly. You can't shoot consistent groups if your rifle is not stable from the beginning. Your rest and rear bag should be level, ready to go. And make sure your bag isn't too hard or too soft, and your rifle should return back to its original shooting position after recoil. So most front rests will have a front stock stop, that you can bring your rifle back to that stop so you have a consistent shooting position all the time. And make sure there is no unwanted friction in your rifle, so that way your rifle can recoil smoothly on your bags. If it's sticking, your rifle can jam up and cause inconsistencies that way. Number 4, you don't know your real zero. Are you the type of shooter that says, I zeroed it last month in a storm on a dodgy bag and played around with a few different types of ammunition? Well, if that's you, well, here is how to fix it. Confirm your zero every time that you go to the range before you start practicing. Shoot 5-shot groups. Single holes really do lie. Don't just shoot once and go, oh, I got the bullseye, because your next shot could be off in the 8 ring. Perfect example for that is after cleaning. Like, your rifle will take a few shots to refoul and start becoming consistent again. And of course, when you're doing your zero with your match ammunition, not the cheap stuff, because it's going to go everywhere. And log every zero session, date, the ammunition, the range, and even the group size. Take your time, because most club events often give you plenty of time to make sure that your rifle is sighted in and ready to go. You ignore the environment, such as wind, mirage, and temperature. That really does destroy consistency, especially with rimfire. So to fix that, hang a wind flag, 10, 20, 50 meters. They're not expensive. Yeah, well, okay. Some of them are very expensive. I'm not going to name brands, but I think some of these brands out there are stupidly expensive. But you can easily do a wind flag. A piece of timber, like you use in the garden to peg up your tomatoes. Nail that into the ground and a bit of surveyor's tape. Costs pennies. It really does. Only a couple of dollars. Next thing to do is learn to spot mirage drift. That shimmer, when you're looking through the scope and the shimmer is heat, that is a clue. And obviously track your temperature and adjust your expectations. Hot days really do shoot flatter. And again, I bring this back. Log everything. Put it in a logbook. Your temperature, your wind direction, the mirage conditions in your shooting journal. Next one is sloppy trigger control. You flinch, you slap, you anticipate recoil. That isn't even on a 22 LR. It's not your rifle, it's your thinking. So to fix that, learn your trigger. Now, dry firing. Dry firing isn't an option in rimfires. So you need to do this live. Slowly press until the break. Then note how much resistance you felt and how consistent that pressure is across reps. Build that control with slow fire drills, deliberate single shots, and focus on your trigger press. Reset and repeat. No chasing those groups, just mastering that motion. Do like 20, 30, 50 shots and just really hyper focus on the feeling of your trigger. Stabilize everything else. Your support hand, your breathing, your cheek weld, all should be locked in. So the only moving part of your body is your trigger finger. No recoil anticipation, no tension bursts, just clean mechanical input. This isn't about surprise, it's about knowing your rifle so well that the trigger becomes second nature. You're not reacting, you're experiencing it. That's the difference between plinking and real precision. Now, number 7, you don't track anything if you don't measure it. You can't improve. Memory lies. That's right. Memory lies. It's like the old story. How big of a fish did you get? It was this big. It was massive. But when you start putting everything on paper, the paper doesn't lie. So to fix it, start shooting with a logbook today. Track your ammunition brands, lot numbers, zero shifts, weather, group sizes, and any gear changes. And of course, your mental state. Mental state is one of the most important things when it comes to shooting. If you're thinking about your auntie's dog that died 2 weeks ago, you're not going to be focused on shooting. Review weekly and adjust based on those patterns. And don't just focus on your feelings. Now, once again, make sure you grab that free download, the accuracy checklist, and the target. Now that you've got that system to fix your groupings, there's one more thing that we need to talk about, because even if you're shooting tight groups, you might be slowly wrecking your rifle without even realizing it. Seriously, most new shooters and even some experienced ones make very simple setup mistakes that damage the barrel, kill their accuracy, and ruin their scope and barrels before they even get a chance to improve. So if you're serious about long-term precision, you need to watch my breakdown on the common oversights that can damage your new rimfire rifle.